recap in the NBA and fantasy purposes. And the first one, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Miami Heat, with the Sixers, an undermanned team, winning 137-134 in an overtime through. And the Heat, they were undermanned as well in this one. And we'll go to the box score. Akachua in this one, a big ball game for him. 17 points, 13 boards, 3 assists, 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line. So Bam Adebayo, he's out for a week. So is Jimmy Butler and Bradley. And Nacho Warwick, he's going to get the starts here at center. And the Heat, they got 3 or 4 games, I believe, this week. And he put up big numbers. So right now, if you need some help at the center or powered forward position, which I think he qualifies at both, he's not a bad ad. He's going to get a lot of playing time. Like I said, the Heat are undermanned. Well, most of their main players out. So Achua, it was a good game, and he's a recommended pickup until these guys return. Kelly Olynyk, he played 45 minutes in this game, and he had 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 6 of 12 from the field, and 3 of 9 from three-pointer. So Olynyk, he was a recommended pickup even before the Heat all came down and had to quarantine this week a number of players. But Olynyk here, he's going to help you with threes. He's going to play a lot of minutes, and he's a decent rebounder and assister as well. So right now, Kelly Olynyk, he should be owned in most fantasy leagues, especially with this time of play at 45 minutes. Tyler Hero, this was a big game for him and a lot of shot attempts in this one, but he kept the Heat in this game as it went to overtime. 34 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 12 of 26 from the field, and 3 of 9 from 3. So this was Hero's biggest game to date this season, and he's going to have a lot of opportunity over the next week or two with Jimmy Butler and Adebayo, their 2 biggest scorers, out. So Hero, he'll probably be the man with the ball in his hands a lot and the leading scorer for this Heat team until they return. Gabe Vincent, another intriguing option at the point guard position for fantasy this week. Vincent, he played a good game here. 24 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and he took a whopping 12 three-point attempts in this game, and he finished the game 9 of 20 from the field. So Vincent, he's going to play a lot of minutes, and he's a player I would look to add as well this week until these Heat guys get back. Even with these COVID situations, there's players on these teams' benches that they got a lot to prove, and they're trying to get a rotation spot or a contract next year. So these guys are decent pickups this week. Vincent and Achua. Duncan Robinson, he was a player I said to buy low this week, and he had a huge game in this one. 26 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. 6 of 14 from the field for Robinson. So him and Hero, they're going to be the 2 main guys here until the Heat get healthy. Strauss off the bench, 23 minutes, 8 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 6 from downtown. So Strauss, keep an eye on him, but he probably won't have value. Iguodala, 22 minutes, 7 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 of 10 from the field. In deeper leagues, I probably would take Iguodala as a pickup until the Heat get healthy as well. And Silva, he's not a pickup at this time, but he had a decent game, 16 minutes, 3 points, 8 boards, 4 dimes. Now to the Philly side of things. Joel Embiid, this guy, he's a monster, and a huge game in this one for Embiid. 45 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists in this one. And Embiid, he came back the other night, and what a ball game he had here is Embiid. He was a first, second rounder for a reason, and so far this season, he's living up with these numbers and huge games. Tyrese Maxi, another good game for the rookie. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 of 18 from the field. The only bad thing was his field goal percentage in this one. But Maxi now, since he started with the injuries to Milton and Simmons hurt, he's been a good ball player, and he's a guy that should be owned in most fantasy leagues. And I recommended him as a top guard ad this week on waivers. Danny Green, he had a huge bounce-back game, and he played a crazy 49 minutes in this game. He had a double-double, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists for Danny Green. He was 0 for 9 from the field the other night, but in this one, he took a crazy amount, 21 three-pointers in a game. I think that might be a record for one player to take 21 attempts from 3, and he was 10 to 25 from the field. So Danny Green, he's going to hit shots. He's going to be up and down, but right now, he's worth the fantasy and with Tobias Harris out and Seth Curry. But once those 2 guys come back, he's not going to be a great play is Danny Green. Mike Scott, he got the start again in this one. 16 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. 4 of 12 from downtown. Scott, he's still not a recommended ad at this time, even though he's playing some major minutes. But like I said, once Curry and Harris come back by the end of the week, and Shake Milton, these guys are going to be relegated to the bench. Ben Simmons, he returned in this one. And once again, he didn't do much of anything. Only the 12 assists were nice to see from Simmons, but his scoring is way down this season. 5.6 rebounds, 12 assists. Ben Simmons, he's a player maybe I would try to get rid of, because I don't know if his scoring is going to be that good this season. And he's going to get you 7-8 assists a game. But I don't know. He don't help in threes, and his free throw percentage isn't good. Isaiah Joe, a good game for him. 13 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist. But right now, only in the deepest of leagues, he's worth an ad is Joe. Dwight Howard, only 13 minutes of play. 10 points, 8 rebounds for Howard. And right now, he's not going to have any fantasy value with Joel Embiid back. And Matthias, 10 minutes, 3 points, no value for him. So that was the Philly 76ers and the Miami Heat in a thrilling overtime game. The Brooklyn Nets and the Denver Nuggets, and the Nets here without Kyrie Irving with a big upset victory here, 122-116, and Kevin Durant, this guy, he hasn't missed a beat after missing last season with the injury, and then coming off the COVID list here with a huge game once again. But we'll go to the box score. Now to the Denver side of things to start off. Jokic, another solid stud game for him, 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double for Nikola Jokic. 23 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 1 of 4 from 3, 8 of 17 from the field to Jokic. He was the number one big man possibly in fantasy drafts, him or Anthony Davis. And right now, I think Jokic, he's outplaying Davis in fantasy basketball so far this season, and he's putting up the numbers you expect. Jamal Murray, it's been a down year so far for him. 20 points, though, in this game, 4 assists, 9 of 20 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. So Murray, he really hasn't had that patented game yet where you're like, wow, this was the Murray we saw last season in the bubble. And the bubble, it could be true that it helped some players, and Jamal Murray, he might have been one of the beneficiary guys in there in the bubble, because so far this year, he's not putting up huge numbers, and his assist numbers are down as well. Boy started surprisingly in this game. 15 minutes of play, 5 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. 2 or 3 from the field, 1 or 2 from downtown. But boy, we got to see more out of him if he's going to be a fantasy target and a player to be on your roster. Paul Millsap, 21 minutes of play, 10 points, 4 rebounds, and an assist, 3 for 3 from the field, and 2 or 2 from downtown. So Millsap, he's not playing major minutes anymore, obviously, like he did in his Utah and the Hawk days. So right now, only in deepest of leagues, I would own Millsap in fantasy. And right now, I'm stuck with him in one league. But right now, there's not many options on the waiver wire, so I'm going to just stick with him. But his playing time's going down. His shot attempts have been going down. And once Michael Porter Jr. comes back, he's definitely a player that shouldn't be owned. Will Barton, he had a good game in this one. 22 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. 8 of 14 from the field, 6 of 8 from downtown. So Barton, he's been a streaky player this season for this Nugget team, but it was good to see him have a good game here, and he played major minutes. PJ Dozier, he played a big role in this one minutes-wise, but he didn't do anything for fantasy owners. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. PJ Dozier, he shouldn't be owned only in the deepest of leagues, so he's a guy I would not look at. Monty Morris, another good scoring game for him, 14 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 6 or 7 from the field, 2 or 3 from downtown. So Morris, he's got to be more consistent to have good fantasy value in 10 to 12 team leagues, but deeper leagues, he's definitely worth an own, because of an injury to one of these guards, Morris, he'll step in and he could be decent. Jermichael Green, he was a recommended pickup at center this week, and he had a decent game in this one, 9.7 rebounds and an assist for Green. He's going to hit some threes as well. He went 2 for 5 from downtown, and he's a decent rebounder. So Jermichael Green, he should be owned in all 12-team and 14-team leagues. Now on to the Nets. Jared Allen, he had a bad game here for once. 6 points, 5 boards, 3 assists. 3 for 6 from the field. And I mentioned this in yesterday's video. Kevin Durant, with him back, the touches are going to go down for Allen, and the rebounding is as well, because Durant, he could average 7 or 8 rebounds a game, and Durant had 9 in this one. But Allen, I would only trade him if I got a good offer or something. But right now, you just wait and see with him. With Allen, Joe Harris, he got another start in this one, and it's what you expect from Harris. 15 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 of 5 from downtown. So you know Harris, he's going to help you in three-pointers. He's going to be a good free throw shooter for your percentage, and he's a good guy for 12, 15 points a game with a few boards and assists. So Harris, he's showing that mid-round value where he got drafted in most leagues. Kevin Durant, another huge game and a rebound shy of a triple-double in this one with the victory over the Nuggets. And Durant, 34 points, 9 rebounds, 13 assists, 12 of 18 from the field, 4 or 7 from downtown. So Kevin Durant, he might be even better than he was, it looks like, so far this season. He's putting up huge games. He looks 100% to me. I don't see anything off with him. And he's playing the big minutes as Kevin Durant. And now with Kyrie Irving, the Nets, they're going to need Durant to go to another level even more now. Jeff Green, 24 minutes, but no impact once again. 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 or 3 from downtown. Brown, he got the start at point guard in this one over Carrick Levert, who got relegated back to the bench. And Brown, he had a good game, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 8 of 11 from the field. So Brown, he's a player I've been seeing getting added this morning in some leagues. But right now, I got to see more out of him, and we got to know how long Irvin's going to be out before Brown's going to have fantasy value. Carrick Levert, he's a player I said I would try to go out there and trade for this week, and a big game for him again. 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 of 15 from the field, 2 of 5 from downtown. So Carrick Levert, he's really getting the job done now with Irvin out, but the only thing, his minutes weren't as big as I thought they would be. 25 minutes, where he was playing 35 to 40 minutes a game the last few games. But Levert, he's a player that should be must-owned. And if there's a manager trying to trade him in your league, I would try to go get him. TLC in this one, 11 points, 2 rebounds, 3 of 6 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. So TLC, he's carved out a decent role here with the Nets, but at this time, he don't have any fantasy value unless you're in a 14 or 16 team league. Then maybe Taurian Prince, he had a decent game once again, 22 minutes of play, 7 points, 5 rebounds. But with Kevin Durant back now, he's not going to have much fantasy value. So that was the Denver Nuggets and the Brooklyn Nets recap. Jazz and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Jazz with a big victory in this one and a huge blowout, 117-87. In this one, it wasn't close by the third quarter. This game was over, and the Jazz now improved to 7-4, and the Cavs fall to 5-7 in this one. So the Jazz, Rudy Gobert in this one, 4 points, 10 rebounds, 2 of 7 from the field. So Gobert, he's been struggling the last few games here now for the Jazz, but I think Gobert, he'll be all right. He'll get things going, and he's a player that should be obviously owned in all leagues, and you should have confidence in him. He's going to help in rebounds, which he's still doing. He's going to help in blocks, but you just want to see these points per game go up. But with this game out of hand early, there wasn't much for Gobert to do in this one. Donovan Mitchell, another good game in this one. And Mitchell, he's starting to get those big scoring type of games. And his field goal percentage is going up over the last week or two. 9 of 15 from the field, 27 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 of 7 from 3. So Mitchell, if there was one knock on his game, it was his 3-point shooting and his field goal percentage. And right now it looks like he's improving as the games have gone on this season. It would be nice to see his assists go up, but I don't think that's a big deal. But Donovan Mitchell, he's playing well right now, and this Jazz team, they're starting to get on a roll. Bogdanovic, he had a good bounce-back game in this one. 20 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 of 10 from the field, 4 or 6 from downtown. So Bogan, he's a player, he's going to be up and down this season, but you know his specialty is 3-point shooting and scoring. So that's what he's going to give fantasy owners. And if there's a time where he's not going to do it consistent, then he's a player you should get rid of on your fantasy team. But right now, he's been playing decent of late. Royce O'Neill, he was a recommended added forward this week on the waiver wire. Now he's had 2 bad back-to-back games. Is O'Neill. 5 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 of 5 from the field, 1 of 4 from downtown. So O'Neill, he gives you a few stats here and there But right now, his points per game have gone down. So if O'Neill struggles the next 2 or 3 games, he's a player that probably won't have value and should be dropped off for 10 and 12 team league teams. Mike Conley, another decent line in this one. 27 minutes of play for Conley, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 or 10 from the field. Then he added 3. So Mike Conley, he's been pretty solid this season. We saw him have some games over 20 points early in the year. I don't think we're going to get that from him, but anywhere 12 to 15 points with similar stat lines like this is what I could expect from Conley. Jordan Clarkson, he was another recommended pickup this week, and he's really taken off now as the 6th man here for the Utah Jazz. 21 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 and 9 from downtown in 28 minutes of play. So right now, Clarkson, he's scoring the basketball, and he's even rebounding at a decent pace and getting a few assists as well. So Clarkson, he definitely has value in 10-team leagues or deeper. O'Nooney, he got to play in here. Favors and Jang, at this time, these guys don't have fantasy value. It was just garbage time in the 3rd and 4th quarter here where the Jazz rested the starters. Now to the Cleveland side of things, Javon Mcgee, he got the start in this one. Andre Drummond, he was out with Achilles soreness. So Mcgee in the spot start, he had a mediocre game. 8 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists for Mcgee, 4 for 8 from the field. So Mcgee, these are the type of games he's going to have. Not crazy points, a good amount of rebounds, and a few assists. But right now, he's only on 14 teams or deeper on the radar. Larry Nance, he had a bad game in this one, and he was a player I set to sell high this week because I don't think Nance's stat lines are all that great, but he's ranked in the top 30 so far on the season. And in this one, 6.7 rebounds, but he hurt you bad with his field goal percentage, 2 for 11 from the field. So Nance, he's never known as a scorer. He's more of an athletic forward and wingman is Nance, and in this game it goes to show the inconsistencies he could have. C.D. Osman, another good game for him. I got to see a few more before he's worth a pickup though. 17 points, 4 rebounds, and he added 6 assists, a 7 as 15 from the field, but he didn't hit a 3. But C.D. Osman, he's been decent now the last few games, but like I said, I got to see more consistency out of him, and his numbers have gone up over the last few games because of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland still out, so hopefully these guys could come back soon for the Cavs. Damian Dotson, another spot start for him with the injury to Sexton and Garland. 11 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 for 11 from the field, then he added a 3. So Dotson in deeper leagues, he has value, but right now in 10-team leagues, I wouldn't pick him up. Okoro, another start in this one for the rookie. 35 minutes, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 at 13, and 2 or 6 from downtown. So Okoro, he's going to have growing pains. He was an early round pick in the first round here for this Cleveland team, and now he's getting the opportunity with a bunch of guys out. Like I said, Garland, Sexton, and Porter. So Okoro in 12-team leagues and deeper, he's definitely worth the pickup because of his volume and minutes played. Pharrell, he played 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He don't have value. Stevens, Wade, Bolden, and Maker, they got no value at this time. So that was the Utah Jazz and Cleveland Cavalier box score. San Antonio Spurs and the OKC Thunder in this one, and the Spurs win at 112-102 in this one. So the Spurs improved to 6-5, and the Thunder go to 5-5 in this one. And this was a close back and forth game, a good game by both teams, but obviously there's got to be one winner. For the Spurs here, Lamarcus Aldridge, another good game for him. 13 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 of 16 from the field. So Aldridge, he was a center I said to buy this week because Aldridge, he's going to be the main man over here. Him and DeMar DeRozan, who's still out though, DeRozan, so far this week. But Aldridge, he's getting double-doubles now. He's hitting 2 or 3 threes a game, and he's always been a good passer. And right now in San Antonio, I think he's a guy that's overlooked. So he's a player I would try to go out there and get, and you don't have to pay a big price to get him, is Aldridge. He's a solid guy for your center spot in fantasy. Trey Lyles, 18 minutes, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 or 6 from the field, 1 for 3 from downtown. And Trey Lyles, he's just spot starting right now until DeRozan gets back, as they shifted the lineup a little. So right now he don't have any fantasy value. Jamal Murray, another good game for him. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 of 13 from the field. So Murray, he's making it look easy this season. And now with Derek White out for 4 to 6 more weeks, he don't have to worry about White taking some of his minutes and the usage with the ball in his hands. And Murray, he was a player drafted 6th to 7th round the most fantasy leagues. And right now he's living up to that, and he's having good games. His assists have been solid. His points per games have been good. And he's a player you could be confident in the rest of the season for your fantasy team. Lonnie Walker, another big game for him here. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 of 15 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown. So Lonnie Walker, he was a guy taken a few years ago in the late first round here from this Spurs team, and now it's starting to pay off for the Spurs and Walker. And Walker now with back-to-back good games. The only troubling thing for fantasy owners who will have him or want to get him is that Walker, he's only been producing big games and good numbers with DeRozan out. So when DeRozan comes back, we'll see if Walker continues to keep playing well like this. Kelden Johnson in this one, 38 minutes of play, 18.7 rebounds and an assist, 6 of 11 from the field. So Keldon Johnson, he's a player that's been up and down so far this season with 2 games that were bad back-to-back, but he bounced back with a good one in this one. And he should be owned in all 12-team leagues or more, is Johnson, and probably 10-team leagues as well. He's going to get opportunities. The Spurs are big on him, and he's been starting since game 1 this season. Paddy Mills, another decent game for him, 17 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 7 for 15 from the field, 3 for 10 from downtown. So Mills this season, he's been more consistent, it seems, with him scoring the basketball. And with the injury to Derek White, it helps as well. So Mills, he's pretty much the 6th man, him and Rudy Gay coming off the bench here for this Spurs team. So I think Mills, he'll have value in 14-team leagues. I recommend to add him. But 10 and 12-team leagues right now, he's not worth the ad. Vassell in this one, 2.7 rebounds, 2 assists. Got to see more out of him to have him on fantasy rosters. Rudy Gay, another good game for him. 12.6 rebounds, 2 assists. And that's what Gay's going to do. Pretty much stat lines and averages like this the whole season. And he holds value in 12-team leagues and deeper. So Rudy Gay, if he's out there in those type of leagues, I would get him. He's going to help you in scoring. He's going to be a decent rebounder. And he can hit the 3 ball as well. Poultry, 16 minutes, 4 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. He has no value at this time. And Derek White, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Like I mentioned, with the toe injury, and DeMar DeRozan, he's day-to-day right now. So we'll see when he comes back. Now to the Thunder type of things. Al Horford, another decent game for him in this one. 10 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 of 13 from the field in 28 minutes of play. So Al Horford, we know he's going to have a big role. We know he's a mentor and one of the few veterans on this Thunder team. And he's going to put up decent numbers. He could be close to a double-double guy this season in fantasy. So he should be owned in all 10 and 12-team leagues plus. Baisley, a mediocre line for him in this one. And that's what you're going to get with this Thunder team. Growing pains of the young guys getting better and improving. This is what's going to happen. One big game, a few bad ones, then a big one. So these guys, they might be frustrating to own like Baisley and Dort. But I think you got to ride it out with them because they're playing big minutes for this team. And the Thunder so far, they're surprising some people with 5 wins. So Baisley, 12.6 rebounds, 2 assists. He added 2 threes, but 4 of 14 from the field. George Hill, he started once again in this one. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 of 4 from the field. Hill, he's been up and down as well, and he's an inconsistent player. He's taken a back seat, obviously, in this offense to Gilgeous-Alexander, Baisley, and Horford. So Hill, he only has value right now in 14-team leagues or deeper. Gilgeous-Alexander, another great game for him. 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 of 10 from the field, 6 for 9 from the line. So Alexander, he's doing it all. His assists are the only thing that's been down, but he did shoot 70% in this game, and this is why people drafted him high in the 2nd or 3rd rounds of their fantasy league. Lucas Dort, he had a mediocre line as well. 12.6 rebounds, 4 for 11 from the field, 3 for 6 from downtown. So Dort and Bazley, the same type of thing. They'll have huge games and then off games, but they should both be owned in 12-team leagues or deeper because they're starting. They're going to get better, in my opinion, as the season goes on, and they're definitely worth roster spots. Diallo, he was a recommended add at the guard position, so check that video out, guards to add on the waiver wire if you haven't. Diallo, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 and 9 from the field, 6 for 6 from the line. So Diallo, he's been playing well now the last 3 or 4 games. He's a big guy too. He's a tough cover. He slashes to the hoop. He's athletic, and I think this could be the season where he breaks out and becomes a good scorer for this Thunder team. Muscala, Maldon, Roby, and Podzimski, they don't have fantasy value at this time, so that was the San Antonio Spurs and OKC Thunder recap. Los Angeles Lakers and the Houston Rockets here in a back-to-back. It was both games in a row, and the Lakers to make it look easy in this one with a 117-100 victory. So the Lakers improve to 9-3, and the Rockets fall to 3-6 on the season. And the Lakers, they're just toying with teams at this point here in the Western Conference. And right now, Marcus Gasol, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 of 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from downtown. So Marcus Gasol, he don't have any fantasy value at this point. He's just a big body and a guy who's going to get some rebounds and play decent defense for this Laker team. But as far as fantasy, he don't have value anymore. And he's not playing big minutes anyway. Cardwell Pope, he had a good game in this one. 14 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. 4 for 5 from three-point land. So Cardwell Pope, he's back in the starting lineup. He's healthy now, and he might have some value in 12 to 14 team leagues. You know he's going to help you with three-pointers and a decent field goal percentage. And he can rebound the basketball as well. So Caldwell Pope, we saw him last season in the bubble and in the playoffs have a huge role with this Laker team. And this year I think he'll be decent, but I don't know if he'll put up consistent numbers like he did in the playoffs for this Laker team. But if you need a guard and some scoring in threes, he's worth a shot. Dennis Reuter, a pretty good game in this one. 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 and 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from downtown for Schroeder. So Schroeder, he's been decent this season for the Lakers. And when you play with players like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, some nights your numbers are just not going to pop out that much. But Schroeder should obviously still be owned in all leagues, and he might even be a buy low candidate with a couple mediocre games over the last few games. LeBron, another good game for him. 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 10 of 20 from the field, and 4 for 9 from downtown for LeBron. So this Laker team, they're just in cruise control, it seems like to me, and they're beating all these teams. They're the defending champs for a reason, and this roster, in my opinion, is better on paper than it was last year. And I don't think anyone really can compete with these guys. And Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they're putting up decent numbers for their stat lines compared to other players, but they're still rolling out of bed and putting up big numbers. Anthony Davis, 19 and 10 with 2 assists in this one, 7 of 8 from the field, 1 for 1 from downtown. So Davis, in the playoffs last year, he was averaging 31 and 12. So far this season, his numbers are down a little, but part of the problem is the Lakers are blowing teams out. And right now, this Laker team, they on autopilot, like I said, it don't look like they're even trying hard, and they're blowing teams out. So right now, Davis, his numbers are taking a little bit of hit, but even playing easy, he's getting 20 and 10. Kyle Kuzma, a good bounce back game for him. 11 points, 11 rebounds. He did get 27 minutes of play as the 6th man here for this Laker team. But Kuzma, he was a recommended drop. He's been inconsistent. He went 4 for 6 from the field and 1 for 2 from downtown. But this game was a blowout, and this is why he had bigger minutes played on this night. Montrezl Harrell, he went 14 and 4, and he was a player I said to buy low as well. Last season, he got 18 points a game, and this year he's only averaging 13, was the 6th man of the year. But he's still playing big minutes. Obviously, his numbers are going to take a hit when you got players like LeBron and Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder on your team who have the ball in their hands a lot. But Harrell, he's still a solid player for the Laker team, and he still has decent value. Caruso, 17 minutes of play, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He didn't do much. Horton Tucker, he's been a talk now. And next season, teams are going to go out there and try to sign him because he's a restricted free agent. And I don't know if the Lakers can match, but Horton Tucker right now, he's not consistent enough for fantasy owners. Obviously, if he went to another team next season, his fantasy value would be way up there. But in 16 minutes, 4 points, 2 boards, 4 assists, and a bad 1 for 8 from the field. And Markieff Morris, 7 points, 3 rebounds in 14 minutes. He has no value. Now to the Houston side of things, Christian Wood, another game, another great stat line, 18 points, 8 rebounds, 8 of 18 from the field, then he added 2 threes. Wood, he's a player I said to sell high this week because I don't think he's going to continue to average 23 points a game, and he'll average 7 or 8 rebounds a game, which he got 8 in this one. But at this time, Christian Wood, I would sell him off because I don't think he's going to live up to those big numbers, and it's a sell high type of thing. PJ Tucker, no points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. He has no fantasy value at this time, and he was a player I said weeks ago. I know he's starting. I know he's getting 25, 30 minutes a game, but he don't do enough to garner a roster spot in 10 to 12 team leagues. Nabwa, another start, no impact, 10 minutes, 1 rebound. He definitely has no value. James Harden, so far this season, he just hasn't got the job done, and his heart's not into it anymore. He said after the game last night, he's giving it all to Houston, but he don't think it could be fixed, and he just don't want to be there anymore. And he's obviously out of shape and overweight is Harden compared to what he was in the bubble where he was in good conditioning and good shape. But I think this is it for Harden and the Rockets. And right now, he's just going through the motions. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 of 16 from the field, and 1 for 6 from downtown. So Harden, if I'm a Harden owner right now, I would try to trade him and get anything of decent value for him because right now he's not into it. He don't want to be in Houston, and his trade stock's taking a plumbing right now. And you know Houston, they want a boatload for Harden, but at this time, if I'm another team, I don't think I'm going to break up my team and try to get Harden, and who knows if he'll even be happy if he lands with another team. So James Harden right now, he's tough to own, and he's not producing good fantasy numbers, and he's been a headache for this Rocket team. John Wall, he was a player I said to buy low this week, and another bad game in this one for him. 10 points, 5 assists, 4 for 11 from the field. So John Wall, he called Harden out after the game. He's not happy that Harden is pretty much giving up on the season and on the Houston Rockets. And John Wall, I would try to trade for him because if Harden's going to start sitting out games and taking games off like Kyrie Irving has, John Wall, he's going to have more value. He's going to have more usage. And right now, his value's at a low. So if John Wall's available on the trade block in your fantasy leagues, I would go out there and get him. Tate, the rookie, 25 minutes of play, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 4 for 9 from the field. At this time, he don't really have fantasy value. Eric Gordon, decent game, 13 points, 2 assists, 3 for 8 from downtown. And Gordon, he should be owned in most 12-team plus leagues. He'll give you the scoring. He'll give you 3-point shooting. But that's about it. DeMarcus Cousins, he was another player I said to buy low this week. He's been ejected in a bunch of games this season or played limited minutes. But in this one, a nice double-double for Boogie. 13 and 10, 5 for 9 from the field, and 2 for 4 from downtown. So Boogie, he's coming off a couple devastating injuries over the last few seasons, but now he's trying to play himself back into shape. And I think as the games go on, he's going to play more minutes because PJ Tucker and Nwabwa, they're not really giving anything to this Rocket team. And if they want to compete, even if James Harden is going to be on the team or not, I think Boogie Cousins is going to get more minutes in an expanded role. And he did produce last night. So that was the Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Lakers recap. Game of the night here, the Indiana Pacers and the Golden State Warriors. And the Pacers, they go to the West Coast here and they get a big victory, 104-95. And this Pacer team, they're playing well this season here in the Eastern Conference and in the early going. Miles Turner, he was the man on this night. What a big game for him, 22 points, 12 rebounds, 7 for 11 from the field, 3 for 5 from downtown. So Miles Turner coming into the night, he was ranked 8th overall in fantasy basketball, and he's a big man I said to sell high. And after this game, you definitely could get a lot for him. Miles Turner, this was his best scoring game of the season, and it wasn't that huge of a game, 22 points, but it's a good game for him. He's averaging 4 blocks a game this season, but right now he's definitely a player I could sell high and get a decent amount for him. Justin Holiday, he was a recommended ad on waivers this week, and another poor game for him. 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 for 4 from the field, 1 for 3 from downtown. So Holiday, I would still add him in 12 to 14 team leagues. He's getting the playing time. The injury to TJ Warren opened up that playing time for him. And now Oladipo, he's dealing with a little soreness in his right knee, and he sat this one out with load management. So right now, Holiday, you just got to keep him on your roster and hope he breaks out with these injuries here in Indiana, because this guy, once he could get going and hot from the three-point line, he could put up big numbers. Sumner, he got the start in this one, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 6 for 11 from the field. The only way he's going to have fantasy value and be worth a roster spot if Oladipo's going to miss an extended amount of time. But he had a good stat line in the fill-in game, and this one's a bonus. Another big game for him. 18 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 of 15 from the field for Sabonis. He's a total stud. Indiana, they like what they got in him, and obviously they extended him last season with the big contract for Sabonis, and he's a walking double-double. And his passing's improved over the last year. And if he could somehow get a three-point shot developed, this guy's going to be a top 20 player in fantasy basketball for a long time. Malcolm Brogdon, he's another player I said to sell high, where he's ranked in the top 5 right now in fantasy basketball. And in this game, he came back down to earth a little. 13 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 5 of 18 from the field, and 2 for 6 from the field. Brogdon on the season, he's averaging 24 points a game, and I don't think he's going to stand up with those stats this year. I don't think it's going to hold. His career high was 16 or 17, I believe, so no way in one season he's going to jump up plus 8 points per game on average, especially with all this talent on this Pacer team with Sabonis, Miles Turner, and Oladipo and Holiday. So I don't think right now Brogdon's going to get 20 plus a game, and he's a guy that's definitely worth to sell high, especially if you get a good haul for him. Aaron Holiday, he had a great game in this one. 16 points, 2 rebounds, 12 assists, 6 of 16 from the field, and 2 for 5 from downtown. So Aaron Holiday, if he could put together a few more games like this, he's definitely worth an ad, and him and his brother switched spots, it looks like. Aaron Holiday was starting for a few games, and Justin was coming off the bench, so the Pacers changed it. But Holiday coming off the bench, Aaron had a better game than his brother in this one. Doug McDermott, 17 minutes, 5 points, 5 rebounds. McDermott, he's not going to have fantasy value, and even if he has a few good games, I'm not going to buy it. He's only a 3-point shooter and a scorer, and he'll get a few rebounds here and there, but he has no value. Sampson, Martin, and Stanley, no fantasy value. And in this one, Oladipo, he was out. Hopefully he's only day-to-day. And Jeremy Lamb, he's starting to practice now after coming off the ACL tear. So he might have some fantasy value if he's going to come back and play a decent role with this team. Now to the Warriors. James Wiseman, he had a decent game in this one. 8 points, 9 rebounds. The only troubling thing for him was the bad field goal percentage, 4 for 11 from the field. But Wiseman, he's a rookie. He's going to have ups and downs, and in this game, he just had a down game, but he's still valuable for fantasy teams, and I think he could be great this season. Steph Curry, he had a mediocre game to his standards. 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and he added 3 threes with Steph. And when you're a shooter, you're going to have just off nights and have a couple games where you're in a slump. So Curry now, the last 2 games, it hasn't been good for him, shooting 9 of 32 from the field. But Curry, he's a stud. We've seen his potential. We've seen the huge games already this season, headlined by a 62-point game. So Curry owners, you shouldn't panic. He'll be fine and bounce back. Kelly Oubre, he's starting to get it going now and getting a rhythm with this team after the poor shooting performances the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 dimes in this one. 3 for 7 from downtown and 6 for 11 from Oubre. So Oubre, if you didn't give up on him, good for you, because I think better days are ahead. He could only go up from here, obviously, with the struggles he's had to start the season, and it looks like he's breaking out of the slump. Draymond Green, another pretty decent game for him. 7 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 or 7 from the field, and he didn't add a 3. So Draymond, he's starting to play back into shape here after missing the first week or two with injury, and he's getting the assist. His rebounds are decent, and obviously he's not going to be a scorer, and he's not going to hurt your field goal percentage and your free throw percentage, even though he went a perfect 3 for 3 in this one. So Draymond, you just hope he don't get hurt and hope he has decent games like he did in this one. Andrew Wiggins, he's starting to play better as well. 22 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 of 17 from the field, and 4 for 9 from downtown. So Andrew Wiggins, he's a player that, he's going to be the second option most likely here with this Warrior team, unless Kelly Oubre or Wiseman really step up. And Wiggins is throughout his whole career, he's a pure scorer. He's starting to get better at three-point shooting, hitting 4 in this one. And he's a player that you got in the 7th or 8th round of your fantasy drafts. And that's the value he's playing up to. So I like Andrew Wiggins a lot, and I think he's going to be good this season. Damian Lee, pretty good game in this one. 12 points, 3 boards in 26 minutes. But we got to see more out of him to have value. Bazemore, 19 minutes. He didn't have an impact. Looney, he's capped out at 15 minutes, 3 points, 9 boards. But Eric Paschal, who was a recommended added forward this week, didn't play in this one. So hopefully he comes back soon. So that was the recap for January 12th in the NBA and fantasy basketball.